World Tour. Bahrain is known as the Island of Pearls. African savanna is known as Big Game Country. Kolkata is called the City of Palaces. Bengaluru is known as the Garden City of India. Bab el-Mandeb is known as Gate of Tears. Canada is called as the Land of Lilies. Big Apple is the nickname of New York City. Aberdeen is known as the Granite City. World records. Uranus is the coldest planet. Earth is the densest planet. Sally Kristen Wright became the first American woman in space. Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first pair to climb to the top of Mount Everest. Greenland is the largest island in the world. Lambert Glacier is the longest glacier. The whale shark is the biggest living fish. The Veryovkina cave is the deepest cave. Around the world. Some architects produced buildings and structures that combined imagination with rationality. Some of them are Luxembourg Palace, Paris, Salomon de Brosse. Houses of Parliament, London, Sir Charles Barry. Rashtrapati Bhavan, Delhi, Sir Edwin Landseer-Lutyens. Petronas Twin Towers, Kuala Lumpur, Caesar Pelli. Opera House, Sydney, John Utzon. White House, Washington, James Hobben. Burj Al Arab, Dubai, Tom Wright. Lotus Temple, New Delhi, Fariborz Sabah. Famous leaders. Desmond Tutu, Archbishop of Cape Town, won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1984 for his non-violent struggle against apartheid. Mao Tse-tung, also known as Chairman Mao, he was the leader of the Chinese Revolution of 1949 and led a civil war against General Chiang Kai-shek. Joseph Stalin led the erstwhile USSR through difficult times, including an attack by Germany during World War II, which was successfully repelled. Muhammad Ali Jinnah is revered in Pakistan under the title Quaid-e-Azam. A lawyer by profession, he was the country's first Governor-General but died soon after it was formed. Adolf Hitler rose to power in 1933 in Germany and led the country to war in 1939. He and his party, the Nazis, were bitterly opposed to the Communists and the Jews mercilessly, murdering the latter during the World War II. Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery from America. Walter Max Ulyate Sisulu was a South African anti-apartheid activist and a member of the African National Congress. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid activist and politician. Women of substance. Anousheh Ansari is an engineer and the first woman space tourist to fly to the International Space Station. Ella Fitzgerald was one of the greatest jazz singers of all time and the winner of 12 Grammy Awards. Princess Diana was a member of the British royal family who was known for her philanthropic work. Doris Anita Taylor is a stem cell research scientist. She created history by making the first lab-grown heart. Danica Patrick became the first woman to win an Indy race in the Formula One racing. Great personalities. Mikhail Gorbachev was the former head of the Soviet Union. Pandit Ravi Shankar introduced the music of India to the Western audiences. Stephen Hawking was one of the most admired physicists of the 20th century. Thomas Stearns Eliot was one of the most influential writers of his time. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. They made history. John Glenn is the oldest man to orbit the Earth. Steve Fossett crossed the world solo in a helium and hot air balloon. Barack Obama is the first African American president of America. Neil Armstrong was the first man to set foot on the moon. Christian Barnard was the first surgeon to perform the successful human heart transplant. Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit was the first woman president of the UN General Assembly. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy was the first president of India who was elected unopposed in 1977. Dr. Ian Wilmot cloned the first sheep, Dolly. How we lost these great men. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, was assassinated by a fanatic named Nathuram Godse on 30th January 1948. Steve Biko was a South African civil rights leader who fought against the apartheid. He died in police custody in 1973. Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister of India, was killed by her own bodyguards. Anwar Sadat was murdered while watching a military parade. Abraham Lincoln was shot in a theatre while watching a play. Popular newspapers of the world. Newspapers in India. Hindustan Times, The Times of India, The Tribune, India, The Statesman, The Indian Express, The Economic Times, The Hindustan, The Nav Bharat Times, Dainik Jagran, etc. Newspapers in New York, America. The New York Times, Daily News, Daily Mail, The Washington Post, Amsterdam News. Newspapers in Britain, The Guardian, Financial Times, Daily Express, The Morning Star, Independent. Great disasters. Some events which are tragic and bring suffering to mankind happen in the world. The ship Titanic sank on its first voyage itself on 15th April 1912, killing over 1,500 passengers. The Union Carbide gas leak tragedy, one of the worst tragedies of its kind in the world, occurred in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. The 2002 drought was one of the worst droughts of India. Except Assam and some other states, it affected the entire country. On 26th January 2001, a devastating earthquake hit Gujarat, killing thousands of people. Bhuj was the worst affected.